We recently celebrated a national holiday, President's Day. A lot of people may not know this about you, but presidents are kind of your thing.
Yes, I know stuff about presidents.
What are some of your favorite movies about presidents?
The first thing that comes to mind is actually a miniseries. That would be the John Adams miniseries.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, with Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, you get to see 1800s tooth cleaning practices up close.
Other president movies.
We've talked about Lincoln. Lincoln's quite good.
What I like about Daniel Day-Lewis's Lincoln is that he does a performance so good that it completely shifts how you imagine Abraham Lincoln to be.
I just love that scene where that guy gets so mad because of Lincoln's stories. Is there a president who hasn't had a movie made about them that you'd like to see a movie made about?
Chester Arthur.
Why is that?
Chester Arthur was a vice president who became a president. He was a very corrupt man, and this woman starts writing him letters. I remember reading about you when you were young, and you had such hopes and aspirations, and you were a good person. And she, turns him around, and he starts battling corruption himself.
Wow.
And so all of his old friends hate him. None of the new Republicans that Garfield was bringing up, they didn't trust him. And so he left office being hated by everyone except this one woman who made him a better man.
We need to find the right woman and have her start writing some letters immediately. I've got a bunch of movies that I've never seen before. You don't know what they are. Every episode, I'm going to spring one on you. It might be good. It might be bad. We'll watch it and talk about it. Welcome to The Basement.
Movie. We're gonna watch one now.
Welcome back to The Basement as we continue our salute to B-movies for the month of March. Tonight's B-movie features the work of a genuine Hollywood legend. And you know what? Today must be a national holiday because Jurassic Park is closed. So for us to see some dinosaurs, we're going to have to go all the way down into the Valley of Gwangi.
I don't know what it is, Matt. I don't know why. I was thinking maybe there's going to be some dinosaurs in this one. I don't know why.
Released in 1969, this movie features the work of special effects pioneer Ray Harryhausen.
Oh.
He inherited this project from his mentor Willis O'Brien, the man who created King Kong, who always wanted to make this movie, but he died in 1962 before it was ever realized.
The last word on his lips was, Gwangi.
This was the final dinosaur movie that Harryhausen animated. It was around this time that the modern rating system was implemented, and this was the first movie ever to receive a G rating. G for Gwangi. Gwangi is a Native American word that means lizard.
I've never seen a full Harryhausen movie other than Clash of the Titans. I am excited to see the master at work here.
You might not realize this, but this movie is also a Western.
I did notice that there's a guy in a cowboy hat here, so that does make me a little bit more excited about this.
Well, I think you'll find tonight's gift entirely appropriate.
Wow. Oh, this is entirely appropriate. Gwangi! I thought he was an herbivore, and he's eating my neck.
Well, saddle up and mount up and ride on your horse down to the old leather couch as we go further down into the Valley of Gwangi. The Valley of Gwangi, turns out it's pronounced Gwangi, begins in a valley. There are a bunch of gypsies, or Mexican gypsies, and one of them has something in a bag. Something that's moving. The old gypsy woman says,
"Leave it. He who takes from Gwangi the evil one is cursed."
Only by an old woman's tongue.
You don't know my tongue.
Fool.
Why doesn't she just wear 2 eye patches?
Or none.
The Wild West show is in town, and so is Tuck Kirby.
He used to be part of the Wild West show, but he had a falling out with them and went out on his own.
He meets a little street urchin named Lope.
Lope is in it for the pesos.
All right, you want to do something for me?
If the money is right.
All right, you can be my short round.
So what's this you say about Montezuma and his revenge? Did someone lose a megaphone?
The star of the Wild West show is
T.J. Breckenridge!
She's a good-looking woman who can do horse tricks, like this one. Getting a horse to jump into a flaming bucket of water.
June Carter Cash is watching this and got an idea for a song. She's just about to go over, and she sees in the crowd her old flame, Tuck. They They Harryhausen that horse. She goes back to the dressing room and Tuck follows her.
You see, they used to be an item a long time ago, but Tuck ran out on her and now she hates him.
Do you want to get yourself killed?
Wait a minute. You're the one who's always trying it out there.
Don't start that again.
Bad looping for TJ Breckenridge.
Nothing could possibly get her to fall in love with him again. Nothing.
Fat chance. This is TJ, remember?
Terenthal James.
This is business.
You play your con tricks and I'll stick to horse tricks.
And tricks, sometimes, if things get slow.
Out in the desert, Tuck and Lope run into Professor Bromley, who is a paleontologist.
I have a theory that there's a tiny horse that lived around here millions of years ago.
He calls it Eohippus.
Possibly more than 50 million years ago.
The Wild West show isn't doing so well, and TJ owes Carlos a bunch of money.
Don't worry, you'll get it. We'll pack him in with our new attraction.
I don't know if it's just the bad dubbing of the voice, but when I look at her, I see Uncanny Valley.
There's something not quite real about her. Maybe she's a Harryhausen effect.
Harryhausen. You're good. Somehow Lope ends up in the arena with a bull. Look at my giant penis. But Carlos runs out there and saves Lope. And Tuck also gets a little bit of that bull's business in his back end. TJ sees this and she fears for Tuck's life. She runs up to him. Tuck, are you okay? They kiss. And she's back in love with him again. That's the movies for you.
Why did you walk out on me, Tuck? I was ready to sell out, to marry you.
Friggin' sellout. TJ shows Tuck her new act, El Diablo.
Whoa! I'm a burrito. There's a Eohippus. It's a tiny horse. And just tell me how this is going to work on a stage? Yeah. Because generally you need to be bigger on stage. Have you thought about getting a normal-sized horse?
Bromley sees that horse and his eyes go goo-goo for discoveries. He thinks he's going to be the next Isaac Newton.
Eohippus, if you are one.
Bless me with your touch.
TJ has given away our secret, destroying all my dreams.
Oh, come now, be reasonable.
Reason is something my people do not understand.
Really? Raisins, something my people don't believe in. Raisins and baked goods. It makes it chewy. You want it to be a chocolate chip. It's just not good.
They know that this horse came from some hidden valley that they can't find.
The Forbidden Valley. The valley you're not supposed to go to.
So they go to the gypsy camp and they're going to try and get some information. That old woman is there again.
I tell you, unless the little horse is returned, we shall all suffer.
Tuck says, well, we tried. But Professor Bromley, he has other ideas. Are you seeing anyone right now? Oh, I'm sorry. That's I need to work on my pickup lines.
The gypsies kidnap little El Diablo.
What happened? He hit me.
And it felt like a kiss. Tuck finds the professor and says, you told them to steal the little horse. Why did you do that? And the professor says, I did it so we can follow them and find the hidden valley, dummy. There's going to be more little horses there. I can study them. You can put them in your show. Everybody's happy. El Diablo is freed from the bag. He runs off.
Fly, little one. Fly home to your master.
Don't you hear me? I said go. I don't like you anymore. Go away, El Diablo. Go.
They see a mysterious thing that's kind of flying through the sky. That ain't no bat and they ain't no bird.
Pterodactyl! He eats the professor's burro.
And TJ and all of the Wild West people think that Tuck stole it.
Look! The Eohippus.
Are you my pop-pop? They try and get him.
They can run upwards of 50 feet an hour. And they follow the horses' paths into this crack in the rocks.
The entrance to the real hidden valley. Pull some rocks out of the way and they go inside. They really seem unfazed by that whole pterodactyl thing. I mean, I'd be talking about that constantly, and I'd be telling everyone what I saw.
Yeah.
That pterodactyl shows up again, and he gets Lope. Tell money, I love it!
Carlos takes the pterodactyl down.
Giant pterodactyl, a flying reptile. It's been extinct for over 50 million years.
No, it hasn't been extinct for any years. Because there's one right in front of you. It could be extinct now. What other kinds of creatures are in here? Turns out a bunch of dinosaurs. Including the biggest of them, Gwangi.
Purple T-Rex, and he eats the little bird up. So lots of dinosaurs are just hanging out here. It's like the land that time forgot. Or you could call it the Valley of Gwangi.
Yabba dabba, do not go any further. They shoot at Gwangi with guns, but they have no effect.
Tyrannosaurus.
He and Gwangi have a little showdown. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. The gang finds a cave where they can all hide out, and they settle in for the night.
Rowdy, you must be plumb loco.
Now what'd I do?
You just really like plums. They brought the blanks that they use in the Wild West show and not real bullets.
Hey, we can use these. See if you can cut that into a spear, huh?
See if you can cut it into a bullet.
I don't take orders from no horse thief.
That was one of the fake punches that we use in the show. Tuck and TJ have a heart-to-heart.
Tuck, I've decided I'm going to sell out.
Friggin' sell out! I know this ranch out in Wyoming that we can settle down on and have a family.
Don't you see we could both sell out?
Friggin' sell out!
We'll be peaceful and happy.
She says that sounds great. That morning, Gwangi sees Tuck and chases after him. He's in trouble, so everyone has to come out and help him. They can't fight Gwangi with guns, so they fight him with ropes. But that doesn't work. He eventually gets free. Gwangi chases them out of the valley. He goes through that little entrance.
A bunch of rocks fall on him. It looks like the T-Rex has been killed.
Careful, it's going to jump up and be alive again, just like Kathy Bates. It turns out he's only stunned. Tuck ties up his mouth.
And they make a big box for him because he's the new star attraction for their show.
The old woman encounters them on the road. She says,
This is bad news, man. You can't do this.
So will you be doomed, all of you, unless the evil one is set free.
"It's true, or my eye patch isn't strapless." They say, "Get out of the way, old lady. We're going to make some money." TJ's got plans for a world tour. Tuck says, "Hey, what about our ranch? I thought we had a deal." She says, "The deal's changed, buddy boy."
Well, leave me out, because that dreamboat's on the rocks before it sails.
As you like.
It is my favorite Shakespeare play.
Well, that's it.
I guess it is.
I Guess It Is my favorite unwritten Shakespeare play. Right before the big show, Gwangi's in his cage.
Grandstands are filled. They're going to get a whole bunch of money. They're all going to be able to move to Wyoming or something like that.
The old lady sends her little friend, the dwarf, to go in there and sabotage the cage so Gwangi can get free. Prove that bad things will happen. My prediction will be proved. And now it's time for Gwangi. Ladies and gentlemen, we have found another lost megaphone.
Captured and brought back alive!
You will all be thrilled to see what I've got behind this curtain. They pull up that curtain, and oh no.
Yeah, Gwangi's getting an early lunch today.
Maybe he got what he deserved. I don't know.
Everyone freaks out. He busts out of his cage. He drops the door right on top of the professor.
And he goes on a rampage. It's chaos.
We need to go to the cathedral. That place is like a castle and God lives there, so he'll protect us.
The doors! The doors!
The Doors! They're playing tonight at the Whiskey A Go-Go.
Gwangi would love to see the Doors. After all, he's the original Lizard King.
There we go.
He comes into the church. He's running around. He's trying to eat people. Tuck knows that he's the guy who has to save the day. He's trying to stab Gwangi with a little spear. He accidentally leans on the piano and causes a pipe organ sound. Rock and roll! Which distracts Gwangi. Stabs him in the head with that spear.
He lights Gwangi on fire.
Gwangi doesn't know how to deal with fire. He just kind of stands there and goes, "Bleh."
Big oil dumpsters are falling all over the place.
The church is engulfed in flames.
And Gwangi is dying a slow and painful death. He busts out a stained glass window. It's tragedy for you architecture fans out there and for you paleontologists. The town watches as the cathedral burns. I guess I didn't need that little horse. And the screams of Gwangi slowly die off as Gwangi slowly dies off, never to return to his valley.
The Valley of Gwangi.
I enjoyed that a lot more than I thought I was when he pulled that out of the envelope.
You know who the real villain of this movie was? Everyone.
Everyone.
Every single person is complicit in the chaos that closes this film.
The only innocent was El Diablo, ironically named Devil.
El Diablo led them to the valley.
Yes.
So even he was in on it. The only person who wasn't in on it was poor Gwangi, the one who suffered the most.
That's true of any monster movie where the monster is removed from his habitat. You know, King Kong, it wasn't his fault.
Sure,
he didn't like flashbulbs.
The end of this is such a downer.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
like
surprisingly...
everyone who's staring at that burning cathedral, they are us. You were doing the same thing. Why did all of this happen?
I can't get down on the movie for that ending. I appreciate a nihilistic ending on occasion.
Well, there was no other way it could have ended.
Yeah. Oh, we're just going to knock him out and drag him back to the valley and put a bottle of Jack Daniels in his hand. He's going to be like, I had the weirdest dream. I was expecting a much smaller movie. I was expecting crappier looking special effects. Due respect to Harryhausen, I was really believing it when they were fighting a dinosaur, and that's all that matters.
You always do with Harryhausen's work. I love stop motion animation. It's one of those things that takes me back to childhood. I remember watching the Sinbad movies and just truly being transported to a world of wonder. And just being like, I never want this movie to end. I never want the sword fight with the skeletons to end.
Sword fight with skeletons. That is greatest special effect of all time, up to and including the T-1000.
It's always so well done when the pterodactyl picks up Lope and flies around with him.
Wow!
The knack that he has for having his creations interact with real people. Very authentic.
Yeah, even down to them just like wondering at the tiny horse. And you're not looking at the tiny horse thinking, oh, that's a real tiny horse. Or you're not looking at it as like the stegosaur or whatever it is.
But you're not looking at them and saying, oh, that looks totally fake.
Yes. This is exactly what people mean by the willing suspension of disbelief. You see something so marvelous. And you're like, yeah, all right, I'll take it.
I thought it was very interesting how they removed guns from the Forbidden Valley equation. Okay, these guys have to solve their problems in a different way.
Yeah.
That was just a very novel aspect of the movie.
I wish I didn't know right before we started that cowboys were going to be fighting dinosaurs. Because that is such a thrilling conceit, and to be completely surprised by that. Do you remember, like, 5 or 6 years ago, Cowboys and Aliens came out?
Yeah, I saw that at the drive-in.
Cowboys and Aliens. It takes care of itself.
I actually kind of like that movie. Most people hated it.
Yeah. It's a drive-in movie.
So I want to talk about something that is common for most Westerns of the 50s and 60s. The score.
Yeah.
Yeah! Where does that style of music come from? And how did it come to be associated with the Old West?
That's a good question because...
Dun, 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 dun.
Did it start with Magnificent Seven? Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like Elmer Bernstein did this thing and everyone followed suit.
I guess it's supposed to just evoke wide open spaces and sweeping vistas and men of action.
What do you think the big drawback was of this movie?
The actress who played TJ was pretty terrible.
Yeah, and the guy who played Tuck was so bland.
Like the lead actor in Mr. Sardonicus, the movie we just watched.
Yeah.
Very bland. It seems like B movies are more about the spectacle that is contained in them than the actors who act in them. It's almost like they don't want the actors to get in the way of the movie.
Yeah.
The motivating factor of most of the characters is greed.
Yes.
What was the motivating factor of the old gypsy woman?
Well, she seemed to legitimately believe that evil was going to be compelled upon the world.
But she caused the evil to be compelled upon the world.
That'll teach them. It's a fanatic. We have to stop the apocalypse, but if you're not going to stop it, I'll just have to speed it along.
Huh. So
Yeah.
she was just trying to prove a point.
I guess so, yeah.
Is that a form of greed?
It's pride.
Or maybe she felt like, if I set this beast free, the ensuing chaos will be worse than if I don't intervene.
Wait, the chaos would be worse if I don't intervene?
Well, if she believes that the presence of this animal is a curse,
Yeah.
that could be a way of not incurring the curse worse.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
a little bit.
I'm just trying to figure out her motivation.
I don't know. Someone has to let the monster go.
Yeah.
Final thoughts on the Valley of Gwangi?
Well, this movie is a man versus nature story, if I've ever seen one, and it all ends up being pointless and senseless, and it bums me the hell out. I'm still thinking of that. Poor Gwangi. Could have just been running around in the valley for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
But he's brought to the city and murdered.
Mm-hmm. God drops a house on him.
There's a secret valley that you can go to that's also full of wondrous things. It's our website, welcometothebasementshow.com. You can see all the episodes that we've ever made. You can see all kinds of other things, spectacles, little tabs you can open that have information on them, and there's a PayPal donation button. You can click on it and donate a little bit to support our show. We promise we won't kill any dinosaurs or tiny horses.
Only full-size horses and small lizards.
Stop it. People donate to our show all the time. They do a rolling monthly donation or a one-time donation, just like DamnationInc.com, who writes, been watching ever since the Opera House!
Opera House!
That was back in season 1. Dadgummit, now it's time for Seen It.
Seen It!
Seen It is the part of the show where we talk about movies that we've seen. And these movies fit the bill.
Yes.
Matthew Schell, if you are looking for a modern samurai movie, watch 13 Assassins if you haven't seen it already. I seen it just last night.
Seen it a few years ago.
It's a story ripped from today's headlines. The shogun, in a time of peace, appoints a chief advisor who's unfit for the position and who's a monster. In the middle of the movie, there is a travel ban implemented. This is all true. This is a movie that's real confusing at the jump because there's a lot of names. There's a lot of information that's flying around.
A lot of assassins, 13 of them.
But you really don't get lost watching it, which was something that I was very relieved at.
Just that final battle scene is... how long does it go on? Half an hour, 45 minutes?
It's the third act of the movie.
Yeah, and it's relentless and it's exciting. Once it gets started, you're like, oh, 13's enough. They're going to kill 200 people in the next few minutes. Chris Wright asks, Hunt for the Wilderpeople. Hands down the best film of the year, but it didn't come out in the last 5 minutes of the year, so people didn't hear about it. Seen it.
I've also seen it.
I love this movie.
Yes, it's very good.
I saw it at one of the first screenings that it had in the United States at the Wisconsin Film Festival. It's the opening night movie. Packed house. Everyone was enamored with it. This is the type of comedy that they should be making more of, where everything is plotted out. It's not just set a camera on two funny people and have them improv.
It's a feel-good movie with high stakes and with real danger.
Yeah.
I love the fact that in the first 5 minutes of the movie, you think it's going to be a movie where this couple has to win over this kid.
Yes.
But that happens in about 2 minutes.
Yes.
And the movie just becomes a completely different movie, which is great. And I know you have a lot of fondness for the female antagonist of this movie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Rebecca.
Her.
Yeah. It's a perfect supporting role as a social worker who does not know her place in the world.
Dante Di Geronimo writes, have you guys seen Still Alice? It was made last year. It was made 2 years ago. And it has a great cast, including Alec Baldwin and Julianne Moore. And it talks about a very serious topic about the terrible stages of Alzheimer's. Seen it?
Not seen it. I know you've been wanting me to see it for a long time, but it's just hard to be like, yeah, the Alzheimer's movie tonight.
It's not as grim as you think it's going to be. It's a family story with a lot of heart. But there's one crucial thing about this movie that does not work for me. And it's two crucial things. And that's Alec Baldwin and Kristen Stewart, who play the supportive husband and the loving daughter. And from those two, I don't buy it. Every time I see Alec Baldwin's face and I hear that voice, I think Jack Donaghy. I think Always Be Closing. I don't think of this loving, nurturing husband. They don't give bad performances, but I just don't buy it.
That's the thing with Baldwin. 10 or 15 years ago, I thought, whenever he's on SNL, he shows himself to be such a comic actor, but he's never going to let that flower fully. And then Tina Fey shows up and it's like, check it out, Alec Baldwin, comic actor. He's done the opposite of Tom Hanks. They've swapped.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, where it's like, all right, you take drama, I'll take comedy. Eugene Martin writes, you guys should do The Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie, whenever appropriate, of course. Seen it.
I have also seen it.
There's no describing what this movie is going to be. It's like if David Lynch did an extended episode of Monty Python.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, well, it's the movie right there. Non-linear story. There really is no story of the movie. Just people trying to eat and have sex and not being able to do either.
Buñuel likes to play those kind of tricks on his characters. He did that in Exterminating Angel. No one could leave the room. It's fun to watch when you're in on it.
Yeah.
Like someone told me that ahead of time. And so I love the movie because every time they try to eat, I'd be like, nope, it's not going to happen, guys. Suddenly you'll realize that you're on stage in front of an audience.
Oh, that is one of my favorite scenes in any movie of all time. Where it's like, oh my crap, I've had that dream.
Yeah, good stuff. That's Seen It.
And that's our show.
Valley of Gwangi is the movie we watched today, and it was a pleasant surprise. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. We hope you'll join us next time because it will be the final movie in our salute to B movies. Craig doesn't know the movie. I do. That's the way the show works. We'll see you then. Good night.
Good night.
Karaoke, senor?
Don't bother me, boy.
He's a bland W.C. Fields.
You need a horse, senor.
Now, look, boy, I told you I don't need anything.
I've achieved enlightenment through Buddhism.
You look unhappy, senor.
Well, I got a problem, Opie. I've been wrestling with it for hours.
I've been drinking beer for hours as well, which is why I haven't been able to solve my problem, because I am drunk.
Fool.